Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over everything you need to know about gaming equipment and the general setup of playing Fortnite with a controller. I see so many questions get asked regarding various components of the typical console/controller gaming setup, and whether or not they actually make a difference in Fortnite. I personally have experimented with so many of the most popular gaming products, including controllers, monitors, headsets, and a few other things as well. So even though I'm definitely not an expert, I feel like I can still give some pretty solid advice on what's worth it, what isn't, what actually makes a difference, and which parts of your setup you should really prioritize upgrading before anything else. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so I would say the singular piece of equipment that I get asked the most questions about is without a doubt the controller. The main alternatives to a regular old Xbox or PS4 controller is either a SCUF gaming controller, which is an option for both consoles, or an Xbox Elite controller, which, as I'm sure you can tell by the name, is Xbox only. So the main advantage of a SCUF or Xbox Elite controller is the ability to add custom-bound paddles to the back of the controller. If you hold your controller normally, you only use 4 of your fingers to actually press buttons, your 2 thumbs and your 2 pointer fingers. Your right thumb will be on the right thumbstick, your left thumb will be on the left thumbstick, your right pointer finger will be on the right trigger, and your left pointer finger will be on the left trigger. So let's say you're in a 50-50 shotgun fight and you want to jump up and down while shooting. To press A/X, which is the jump button, you'd need to move your right thumb off of the right thumbstick to actually do that. And since right thumbstick is responsible for aiming, you literally cannot aim and jump at the same time. With a SCUF or Xbox Elite controller, you can bind your jump button to one of your paddles on the back and press it with a finger you wouldn't normally use, so now you can jump and aim at the same time, and that's just one example. I know players that use 3 or 4 different paddles, with the ultimate goal being to keep their 4 main fingers on the thumbsticks and triggers as much as possible. So the question is, that's great and all, but is it really worth it? Most models of the SCUF gaming controller go for roughly $140 to $150, and a brand new Xbox Elite controller is pretty much the exact same price. Here are my general thoughts. If you're someone that grinds Fortnite and other shooter games, I think this is probably worth it in the long run. Even if you only use 1 paddle bound to the jump button, which is what I do, being able to jump and shoot at the same time is such an advantage in all shooter games, and especially Fortnite. And another thing I haven't even mentioned yet is that even though these controllers are about $100 more than a normal PS4/Xbox controller, they're also made with much higher quality materials. I've had my Xbox Elite controller for about 2 to 3 years now, and it's still in really great shape. But I know a bunch of my friends that still use regular controllers, and apparently those things usually start having problems within the first year or so. But be aware that you will need to adjust to using paddles if you purchase this type of controller. It'll take a somewhat significant amount of time, and you'll probably be really bad for about a week or so until you get used to it. Overall, I'd give the SCUF/Xbox Elite controller a 6 out of 10 in terms of value for money. Not the best on this list, but still pretty good. The next item I want to discuss is gaming monitors, specifically for Xbox/PS4 Fortnite. You probably wouldn't think that the TV you play Fortnite on can have an impact on your skill as a player, but it's actually hands down one of the most important factors. A misconception that some people have about monitors and TVs in terms of gaming is that bigger is better. It does kinda make sense in theory, but it's actually pretty much the opposite. Ideally, you want to be playing Fortnite on a gaming monitor that's somewhere between about 22 and 30 inches. And to be a little more specific, I'd say on average, most good players either opt for a 24 or 26-inch monitor. Along with size, there are two other important characteristics to look for: response time and refresh rate. You want your monitor to have as little of a response time as possible, and the gold standard for gaming monitors is usually 1 millisecond. Refresh rate, which has an effect on input lag, is an interesting characteristic because typically if you play on PC, you want as high of a refresh rate on your monitor as possible. So if you play controller on PC, definitely consider getting a 144 or 240 Hz monitor. But with this current generation of consoles, 99.9% of games, Fortnite included, are limited to 60 Hz. So even if you buy a monitor higher than that, it won't actually have any effect on the game or your performance in general. So you can probably get a really nice 24 or 26 inch, 1 millisecond response time, 60 Hz gaming monitor for around $150. I would personally recommend the brands BenQ or Acer, but I can't imagine that's too important. In terms of value for money, if you're someone playing on a regular TV, especially if it's anything over maybe 32 inches, a gaming monitor with ideal specs is a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. I'd probably prioritize getting that first before anything else on this list. The next item that I get asked about fairly frequently are control freaks. These are basically little pieces of plastic that you place on the right thumbstick of your controller to make it slightly taller. And in theory, that gives you better control over it, therefore making your aim a little bit better. The good thing about control freaks is that they're by far the cheapest option on this list, coming in at around $10. The bad news is, I can't definitively say that they actually improve your aim. I've seen and heard a lot of mixed reports about the impact that control freaks have. Some people swear they made a huge impact on their aim, while other people say they didn't notice a difference at all, or they even feel like it made their aim slightly worse. And control freaks are actually the only item on this list that I personally don't use. I started playing shooter games before they even existed, and by the time they became popular, I felt like my aim was really good already, so I never felt the need to try them. But for $10, if you're someone really struggling with aim, I would say it's worth a try. So that's what I'll rate them in terms of value for money, worth a try out of 10. Moving on, I want to quickly talk about headsets in relation to Fortnite. If you're someone that either doesn't have a headset at all, or you're using the default $10 Xbox or PS4 headset, then something like a pair of $40 or $50 Turtle Beaches is a really good purchase. But if you already have that decent $40 to $50 plus headset, and you're thinking of upgrading to one of the top of the line ones, I would actually advise against it. I use Asteroid 40s, which is probably the most popular top-of-the-line option for a gaming headset, costing around $250 with the mix amp. I bought it mainly because of the shooter games I played in the past, where having a great headset gave you a huge advantage. But in Fortnite, with the way audio currently is, there really isn't a huge difference between a $50 headset and a $250 headset. So value for money rating here, if you have no headset or a garbage headset, I'd rate an upgrade to something like $45 Turtle Beach XO4s, for example, a solid 9 out of 10. But if you already have the $40 to $50 headset, I'd rate an upgrade to a top headset a 3 out of 10, at least for Fortnite. And finally, we have to talk about gaming PCs in this video. If you want a PC that can comfortably run Fortnite or video games in general, it's going to be at least $600 or $700. And that's the absolute bare minimum. The higher quality gaming PCs will easily run you upwards of $1,000. Will it make a major difference in your gameplay? Absolutely, even if you continue to play on controller. FPS is so incredibly important for so many different things in Fortnite, and going from Xbox/PS4 to PC will likely result in you doubling, tripling, or even quadrupling your average FPS. But unless you're just absolutely loaded or you're legitimately one of the top console Fortnite players in the world, I think it's a bad use of money to buy an expensive PC just for Fortnite. However, where I think it starts to become worth it is if you plan on getting a bunch of other uses out of that PC. Maybe you need a good computer for schoolwork and watching videos / Twitch streams / movies, and you've also always wanted to play a bunch of games that are only on PC. When you combine those factors with a huge FPS boost in Fortnite, that's when it starts to become worth it. I don't even want to try to give it a value for money rating since it depends wildly on your individual situation. And oh yeah, I know absolutely nothing about the specs and hardware of gaming PCs, so unfortunately I can't really help you guys with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Do you have any of the products / equipment I discussed in this video, and if so, how do you feel about it? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.